Hello. Today I'm going to do something different. Okay. So I started working on my data. Let me download some of it. Okay. So okay, so what's it? Why it's so slow? Okay, our files are here. Nice. Stop share. Rotate these two documents. Actually, they don't have to be there. Okay. Okay, so let's share. Delete this. Import. And speedy. We import numpy. NP. So, okay. So what I'm going to do today is I decided, okay, let me give you some context. So today I tried to put my data set together. And of course, examples are oversimplified very idealistic cases just to teach you some basics. And none of the real world problems are like that. So I had to do a lot of search on Google, and I realized why I realized I had to search a lot. And not everything worked for me. So I decided to make really short clips of each problem I encounter every day. So today I'll do that. And I'll put these in a playlist. I'll make another playlist and I'll extract those short clips from this video and put it there with appropriate titles. So the first problem I encountered is to read my data because my data is somewhere else. To do that, I lost some of my data. Okay, we have to do this again. So path equals, okay, that was the first problem I encountered. When you do this, let's say, so this is my path. This is file number and the rest of the file this. So, and so I did everything here on my Windows machine and I'm doing it on my Mac. So there might be some stuff that worked on Windows, but not here. So I'll look at that. Like, for example, if you're doing this, if you're working on both Windows and Mac machines, the first thing you should realize, it's / on Mac, but / on Windows. The folder separators or file folder separators are / in Mac, / in Windows. And I do this. Was 3 what? So let's see. Okay. When you try to load file and when you try to read, especially, so I'll show you each of that. What's going on? Completely frozen. System preferences. Okay, something weird happened. Oh, okay, worked. Hmm. That's funny. That's funny, funny, funny. The funny thing is, when I tried the same thing here in a Windows machine, you know what happened? Um, what happened is it didn't accept my, it gave me an error. Um, some error about the file path. Let me see if it will happen again on my Windows machine. You ready for this? Yeah, okay. So the problem is here with the Windows machine. Yeah, it happened again. I can show you actually. You see that error? I don't know. So it says syntax error, EOL, while scanning string literal. So the problem on Windows machine is when you use, this this backslash is also a special character. Like you use it to define backslash n, for example, is new line. So Windows file path has those backslash between folders and files. On the other hand, Mac has forward slash. So this backslash on Windows machines makes computer think that those those characters coming after the backslash are special characters, but they're not. So what you have to do is you should put double backslash instead of one backslash. So instead of one, wherever you see a backslash, you put another one. Okay. So one more here. One here. Done. So then it works. Then it works. So okay, I'm going to do this because I can show this on my computer. But what I'm going to do is I'll cut this, copy this, delete these here, or yeah, and show you something like, because this is for the video. So for example, a Windows file path would be something like this. Okay, so this would be my Windows path. Let's say this is my Windows path. And if I would try to put this together using the string operations, I would get an error. Exactly, error would be exactly EOL while scanning string literal. That would be my error. Okay, that would be my error. And to fix that, I would just put double backslash everywhere. I see backslash. Then I won't get the error anymore, because then those backslashes are just backslashes. So the Python will assume these two are just one backslash. Okay, that's how you're going to solve this on Windows machines. On Mac, there's no problem. There's no problem on Mac. Okay. So just to show you, so now this is another problem I encountered. while I'm merging my data sets. So this is problem 2. And problem 2 is removing, the first problem is, if you look at here, or the problem is, let's say, okay, problem definition. I read my data and my data has this weird character, this, well, I forgot the name of this character, hashtag. It has hashtag character and I want to remove this, but after removing it, I want to move everything to the left, okay, to the left. Ooh, wait. Rewind. First, let's look at our data, what it looks like. It looks like this, okay? It's structured like this. I have my data. For some reason, there's this backslash and a space and this R, which is the radius. And then some space, but look at that. Here, that it was 1, now it's 2. And then volume, and then two spaces, and then another title. And here I have only 1 backslash, and I have 3 rows of data. So this is going to be a problem for me. The first problem is in the pandas tutorial on Kaggle, we learned reading .csv files. That's the first problem. And this file is txt. I'm gonna pause and come back. Okay, I'm back. So let's hide this. Okay, problem 1. On Kaggle, we learned reading CSV files. So how you read txt files with space is used to separate columns. So what you do is you still use read CSV, but instead of, so you put another argument, you give another argument to read CSV, which is, you say white space is used as a delimiter. So this, if you don't say anything, or the default is this is false, and when you say that, okay, I'm gonna show you what happens when you say false. I'll go variable explorer and I'll look at my data. You see that? You see that? So everything comes as one full row. And it assigns index automatically. So Python automatically assigns indexes. So if you make this true, so look at the size, 1000 by 4. You see? So now, Python read my data as the size being 1000 rows, which is true, and 4 columns, which is wrong. I mean, for this problem about reading txt file with spaces, you use delimiter, white space true. That's how you solve it. So second problem. The second problem is you want to arrange titles and you want to maybe delete some titles, headers of data, and maybe, you know, replace some of the headers with others. So my data actually only has 3 columns. This column is the radius column. This column is the volume column, and this column is V divided by Vmax column. So for some reason, we have this hashtag generated, and there's a space between the hashtag and R. So Python thinks that this data has 4 columns, but it's actually not. So what we will do, what I want to do is I want to remove hashtag, and I want to shift this. Basically what I want to do is this: delete hashtag and leave it like this. So when Python reads this, it will see 3 columns. So, but if I had just one file like this, I would just do it by hand. But I have like, I don't know, 12,000, maybe more, 1,200 data, or maybe more like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove that in Python. So the way to do it is actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the columns from the tracks. We're gonna sort them. Tracks dot columns. So they will be strings, and replace so okay, what's happening here is taking we're changing the columns, or the column titles here. So the track columns will be the track dot columns, I guess, corresponds to the column, the headers of the data. So we are taking columns, converting them to string, and replacing hashtag with nothing. And we are going to define a function here called key equals x is my argument, x equals nothing. And this will be sorted. So now when I do that, okay, you see, I removed hashtag and shifted headers of columns. So now I have to get rid of this not a number column, which is generated default by Python. And two, okay, so this problem, if we have to frame the problem 3 I encountered today is removing a column from your data frame. To do that, this is actually really simple. Track.pop, you use the pop function and you just put an empty string. So now if I run this, ta-da! So now my data is organized. So this is my index column. And these are my 3 columns. Awesome. Problem 4. So problem 4 is what I'm trying to do in my data set. As I said, I have many of this data. And I am trying to merge all the data sets. So basically, every data has 3 columns and 1,000 rows. But when I put one data set at the end of the other, I don't want the headers, okay? So the 4th problem I encountered today related to is actually getting rid of the column titles while merging data. So I'll read another data set, PD. For convenience, I'll do this. Later, this code will be, I will add a loop. So I'll get rid of this code will be more elegant, more simplified, because I don't want to, enter the name of each file by hand. I want Python to read it in the folder automatically. So read. So I will also need this. Add 1, 2. F attached will be the same. And okay. Okay, just to be sure, I'm gonna run this code. Okay, it works. So we dump these. Delete that. Yes. Oh. Okay. So first we have to perform all these operations on our second data set. And then we are going to do this. Equal PD. Okay, let me show you what happens. Okay, I don't want to I don't want to spend a lot of time, you know, trimming those videos. So to reduce the time I spend on post-processing, I'll just start over describing the fourth problem. The fourth problem I encountered today is, if you want to frame it, how you append or merge two data sets that has very similar structure. If the problem specifically I encountered today was removing headers from the second data set while appending, before appending. Otherwise, if you try to append your data sets without doing that, you're gonna end up a data set looking like this. Wait, this is very interesting. This is really interesting because that didn't happen to me on my Windows machine. I'll do the same thing. Uh, Very interesting. So I don't know why I missed that, but I tried the same thing on my Windows machine. and it generated the same outcome as in my Mac. So it automatically removes headers. However, the index doesn't continue. Okay, when I tried, you know, before, the way I did that was I used concatenate from NumPy library. And in that, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting, interesting. When I append data sets in using append in pandas, my indexes, okay, my indexes are pulled from the original data sets. Okay, now look at this. Okay, look at that 999 and 0. So when I use NumPy concatenate, and the way to do that is first you have to import NumPy as I imported it as NP, and I did this tracks pd dot data frame and np dot concatenate. So tracks dot values. So this only gets values, not the headers, but just the values. And then from my second data set, just get the values and put column headers. Use column headers from the tracks dataset as my column headers, okay? And print tracks. Or actually don't, I'll just do that, okay. Okay, what happened here? Okay, sorry. Okay, now look at it. Now look at it. Ah, you see that? This is different. So this is what I want actually, because I don't want that weird indexing. So I'll use NumPy concatenate instead of pandas append. Let's, now we have all the code here. Let's talk about the problem again. You have two data sets. I'm simplifying. You can have many data sets, but let's say you have two very similarly structured data sets. And these each data set has headers. To see an example, here is my data. Let's close this first. Here is my two data sets. Very similar. Okay. Each has header. And I want to put these values at the end of my first data set. And I want to make these two data sets one big data set. So immediately what I thought, okay, let's use, so the first problem is I have to get rid of the headers. So I thought, you know, because that's also taught in Kaggle's Python Pandas mini course, micro course. Simply, you can just use append, right? So I create another data frame, which is called tracks, and I append temp data frame at the end of my track data frame. So when I do that and run my code, here is my tracks data set. So this is the big one, the big data set to put together. Look at what happens. Yes, the headers, the header of the second data set removed. That's good. But my index starts over. So this might be an issue. And I don't want this to be an issue. I want my index continue. 999, 1000, 1001, etc. So if you want that, if you want to merge your data sets like that, if you want your index to continue, then you should use NumPy. Okay, first import NumPy. I imported my NumPy library as NP. So you're creating tracks data frame, so pd.data frame. We are using concatenate function from the NumPy library. I get the values only from my track data set, and then I get values only from my temp data set or data frame, and I use the columns. Let's do that because that's easier to read. And I am using track data frames column headers, okay, for my new data set, the new data frame I'm creating here. So when you do that, look at that. You remove the header of the second data frame, and now your index continues. That's it. So these are the 4 problems. These are all the problems I encountered today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim the video, those portions where I talk about the problems. I make them short clips and I upload them into a new clip, into a new playlist every day. Why? Because first, when I do that, it helps me to memorize the things I learned. Second, I can go back and look at the problems I encountered if I encounter the same problem again, and I can look at how I solved it. That's like a journal, visual journal for me. Also, other people can benefit from the things I learned. So yeah, I guess that's it for today. I'll continue working on my data set, but I guess I'll stop here because I'm going to work on my work computer and you don't see my screen. So it's pretty useless to recording this session. Anyways, that's what I did today, and I'm continue working on it a little bit more. So see you later.